Yes, people. Back again in the house. Black Eyes TV 7, bring you that information, that knowledge, that wisdom. Yeah, it's been a busy couple weeks. It's been a busy day yesterday. We was linking up with the Caribbean, and today it's another beautiful experience because it's a UK Africa link up show. Yeah, your health is your wealth. But before we get to our guests, let me speak to my co-host extraordinaire, Mr. Riggs. Speak to the people and let them know what they're in store for.
People. This is Mr. Riggs, your UK tour guide to the rest of the world. And as we are going from one place to another, connecting everyone to becoming that one unit, that one family, that one greatness. As we know, we have to eat right, to think right, to believe in being right. So now we are in Gambia this time round, and we have two of the greatest, not just chefs, not just about foods, but two great people that have come straight from the land of California all the way to the UK, all the way to the mother home of Gambia. Now we have to introduce Mama Sarah and
Dr. Gregory.
And Dr. Gregory, Father Gregory. These are our parents that are guiding us how to eat and how to live right. How are you doing today? How are you?
Oh, we're feeling great. Fantastic. Sir, thank you for asking.
So we want to talk about this journey because you know what? Let's go back into time from when you was in America. And you know that you've got this book called Spicy, Tasty Vegan Cuisine. I want both of you to relay that journey before you even created that book.
Okay, Mama, please. Oh, yes. Dear Terry, thank you so much for the invitation, and we're honored to have this moment with you. And for those who are listening, well, we actually, we retired from our jobs. We didn't actually retire from working, but just the working in the system, the corporate world. And we decided that we would give ourselves 10 years to take care of some important things so that we can live comfortable in the motherland. So what we did, we decided that we would cater to our friends, and we were doing it in an alarming rate where after 3 months, we were just really exhausted. And people actually were interested in the recipes. So we decided to take, we thought, 5 months to write the books. So we called our family and friends and told them that we were going to be off the grid and we were going to write these books. And they were really excited. And we were more or less interested in writing the book based on melanated people, because we noticed that a lot of our people have been really ill in America with the diabetes, some having nervous conditions, cancer. So many of our women in America having uterine fibroids, which means they were led to hysterectomies. So when you have challenges like that, we really have to work on our diet, especially when we start to age in our 40s, 50s, and beyond. So we got together, we started on the book. We met a lot of interesting people on the journey of 27 months. And I'll just give you a little bit of the people that we had to go through to make this happen. There was a lady named Monique that came to the house. She spent 3 months. She assisted us. She moved on. We connected to one of Dr. Joe's musician who also writes music and was interested in writing a book. So we worked with him. We gone to a technical person Deborah, she assisted. One of my college mates, Mardine. Just the list was just on. And also, we ended up with Dr. Layla Africa, Dr. Stevenson, Kwame, Terry, you were there to support us, Shakina, Dougie, Supreme, and many more. Lion, it's just been amazing journey. And we decided, while meeting all of these people in the US, we had the people there to assist us. And then from there, we decided to come to the UK. Yes, so
it looks like she covered, you know, all the highlights of it. Our motivation was that our people in America are dying. Very sober, but it's true in the diaspora. And we, even though Mama's food was just outstanding, I mean, I came up with a bright idea that we should have classes, and we ended up with more people wanting the food. So when we did retire and did say, let's do this and make it, you know, a book, which started off being a book, which ended up being 3, because one was for the melanated, as we call it, a word that a lot of people are familiar with, but it's actually carbon and copper. Mm-hmm. That's what makes us electric. As Mama pointed out, you know, because there is such biological chemistry differences between those that have a lot of melanin and those who have very little, it behooves us to eat the kind of food that supports it. So with that in mind, you know, we had no idea that our book was going to be #1 in the world. We knew that we were on a divine mission, shall we say. Mm-hmm. And we had a lot of people that loved us, and Mama had just scores of people following her. And the books, you know, over 70 testimonies of people that have had challenges and how the food and cooking for the week. And it's just been a wonderful experience being of service there. And then we left the UK. After about 17 radio stations and demonstrations, it started getting cold, Terry. I ain't gonna lie. See, we're from California, okay? Yep. And when it got to November, man, I had not been that cold in a long time. I was so glad to see Africa. When I touched down on the soil, we still had on our clothes because, you know, we got to ride in that cold plane. But man, when I got there, I was glad, okay? And from there, to be able to breathe air and what? Yeah, don't have no chemtrails here. The sun, real vitamin D. What? All these beautiful people? My goodness.
Yeah, it was really amazing to get off the plane and the heat hit us immediately. I wanted to just drop down on my knees, but we didn't have that red carpet. So we just got on the train and just, we at the airport, and then we had to ride the train so that we can get our luggage. And we were looking for a friend. And how I actually got connected to the Gambia, it was all quick. Terry, you introduced us to Shakina. Mm-hmm. The sister Shakina was the one that actually invited us and encouraged us to come to the Gambia because she had been visiting for 12 or 13 years and said it was safe here. And she said they're still in the young stages of their lives. The food needs improvement and so forth. And with us vegans as herself, I said, well, let me call a friend that I lived in Alaska with Gambian sister, Ida, and let her know that I was ready to come here and needed some assistance with the family. And so she immediately called her brother and sisters, and we got connected, and it happened. So Babacar was there at the airport for us.
Yeah, in fact, we had 2 Babacars. we had never seen his brother Barbacar, only talked to him on the phone. And when we got to the airport, man, this dude, he came running up to us. He said his name was Barbacar. He even had a name tag on, Barbacar. So we thought he was the man, but he was just doing the luggage thing. And then the other Barbacar, you know, finally we got to him. So we learned quick, fast, and in a hurry that you have an unlimited amount of Fatus here. And then, you know, because Fatu is like the firstborn, but then you can have namesake Fatus. So about 40% of all the females seem to be named Fatu or some derivative thereof, like a Fatima or, yeah.
Fatimala.
Yes. And then Lymans, you know, they're the firstborns.
Yes.
So we ran into a lot of Lymans. And my goodness, those are the first things we found that were outstanding. And then we got down to the food. So,
and then with the food, actually before we left, we were ordering food from one of the spice stores, I think called Manhattan. So we ordered a lot of the products from them, as well as Whole Foods online. We also ordered food from Amazon because I learned, you know, being a Black person from America, which is African, we need to travel with our food. So we had food that was shipped here, as well as we packed as much as we could in our luggage.
Herbs and spices.
Lots of herbs and spices we brought along with us to sustain us. But Barbacar, he was, it was brought to his attention that we were vegans by his family. And so he took us immediately to this women's garden.
That's right.
Yeah, the Women's Association, because women in Gambia, they're actually are the farmers. So
the majority of them.
Right. And so we had an opportunity to, I was asking for greens, what kind of greens? And then they had, it was in November, so it was getting close to the end of a lot of the greens there. So they gave us these greens called bisop, and they have this bitter taste and excellent. So I got as many of those, and I was introduced to cassava greens. And believe it or not, a lot of the Gambians weren't really eating it. I just, you know, I worked with it because I felt like, well, I needed greens in my soups and stews. So I used it in the greens and the greens in the soups, as well as the stir fries, and it was good, salads. And also, yeah, we had a wonderful time riding around. He was looking for a place for us to stay. So we were really fortunate to have someone who really looked after us. And he also had a cab, a guy who was a taxi driver to bring us around, because he told us that we had to have this kind of protection because his sisters said that they didn't want anything to happen to us.
Or his head would roll. So, so that was a wonderful, wonderful experience. We have some other things that were, you know, kind of comedy, but, you know, that's the way life is. And what we did observe that there were some challenges here that could be overcome. And we started working on those. One was white rice.
Right, and remember we came in a time when there was a political presidency
Right.
that was taking place.
Mm-hmm.
And so we were asked not to do much of anything, just kind of lay low until the time passed.
Mm-hmm.
Because, yeah.
Yeah, we were so blessed because that was like mango season. And man, it was some good stuff.
It was a watermelon season.
I know it was something good.
Yeah, when we came, there was plenty of watermelon here. And so we really enjoyed buying the watermelon, the coconut, you know, coconut with the soft gel ones and the hard ones. And we started making coconut milk, and we also got more introduced where neem is really good for protecting us from malaria, because we didn't want to get any vaccinations, because we know that if you are
immune system is up.
Yeah, if you
you're cool in the game.
Yeah, and you keep your immune system. So we did have essential oils we were taking, and again, we had our own neem and moringa we had brought along with us. But then to learn it was grown everywhere.
Everywhere, everywhere.
So we didn't have to purchase that anymore, and then got more introduced to baba powder, where that's one of the highest.
It is the highest form of vitamin C.
Exactly.
And yes.
Baba powder. Baobab.
Mm-hmm. The trees grow all over.
All
over. They have a traditional they call it the upside down tree.
Aha.
Oh, okay.
The upside down tree. Well, we noticed in the time we were here, Terry, that there were 3 areas that could use some work. Number one, the high rate of diabetes, and a lot of that had to do with the white rice. And we encouraged them, to deal more with their local rice and their cherry and their fendi, and encouraged the farmers and working with them to get more of that, and even the wild rice, which we brought over, and getting them to use their own. So, and that's from the grass family, so it doesn't turn into the starch like the other rices, the brown rice.
Yeah. So, John, so I just wanted to ask. Let's just go back into time, because of if anyone is interested in more information, we have got a recording of them in our archives. If you check the archives out, you will find out. Now we want to go through this Spicy Tasty Vegan book, and we want to know, like from the beginning of understanding what we need to eat and how we need to eat, and the foods, because a lot of people nowadays are saying that they're finding it very difficult to eat the right foods. So in forms of preparing a meal, how would you tell someone to start or to go about creating their own food? Because I know when you don't cook your food, you make that vegetarian food very spicy, which has a beautiful taste to it. And because we're a nation of taste, we
absolutely
follow that taste buds where we're going. So give us an insight on that.
Yes.
Well, since I, of course, had my experience at the age of 19, which was about 45 years ago, with the hepatitis B. Also, because I was working in a university, I had, access to my lab tests after having the needle stuck me, when I was working with the patient. And then, of course, I was in college and wasn't eating properly. Well, I actually learned just by going to the health food stores, and the areas you live, they have quality food. So I didn't give up meat right away, but it's really important if we can purchase some of the appliances. Like one appliance was a wok. So it's nice to have a stainless steel wok, where you can stir fry your vegetables and it's not as overcooked. And then also with the different spices and herbs, like you mentioned, taste. It's very important to us. My mother, she prepared food with spices. It may not be as much as where I am today, but it was a start. And then working around people from other countries, like folks from India, from Nigeria, and starting to make my soups, adding different spices, because soup, I believe, was very vital. So the soups is very good, and putting all the vegetables that are in seasoning, having the vegetables that's more or less like meat, like seaweed, add into your diet. They've got recipe books, where you can get ideas for that. Eggplant, which here in the Gambia, they call it garden egg. And also, what is the other? Seaweed, eggplant, and there's another one. Your legumes, your beans are good. And then also a blender. You know, we can also have a blender where you can blend your fruits and have your herbs, your superfoods like maca, chia seeds, flax seeds with your fruits, put the little greens in there. We have spinach here because I'm learning more and more about what they offer here because I'm connected with more of the farmers. So that's good. We got a dehydrator. So that's really wonderful. We just started using it.
Food processor.
The food processor.
But just basically, if you just start off with a blender and a wok, and then as time goes on, just add to the appliances. And this will allow more variety in what you are putting together. And once again, it's just not about the looks, it's about the taste. And the herbs and the spices that we use that are in the book, they're really the things that, you know, are for the healing of the nation. But the food is like a delivery system. But fortunately, it's a good one because with those spices and the way it's put together, it's absolutely delicious.
And what we're doing right now, since I don't really have the energy to prepare all this food and, you know, putting in 5-6 hours, maybe every other day, we decided, since we now have a guest house of 6 bedrooms and 4 bathrooms, and yes, people are invited to come and spend time, and we also helping them with their healing. So we have a staff of 7 people. One person, he's the caretaker of the compound. And we have, I think it's 5 ladies here that's, that works pretty much Monday through Saturday. And Sunday if we have an event where we need to prepare food. But they're doing a great job. You know, they take care, they clean the house real quickly, and we provide all the food, and they're even looking healthier. They've been working with us for the last 7 months. The skin is nicer looking, and they're young and they're open. So their ages from 23 up to 32. So yeah, it's wonderful. And thank you again, Terry, for putting that picture out there with them, because they were so excited to see it. And it's up to them to really take this even higher than we can only imagine as people that are maturing.
Yeah. Richie, any questions or overview?
I'm enjoying listening to your experience. Saying about the ladies that you're encountering and the people. The age group seems to be quite young. Is that inspiring for you to see, obviously, the younger generations taking up the mantle and be so conscientious about their intake of food and the ingredients?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. But it sort of goes that way where, you know, some folks, they get kind of old and set in their ways, and it's more difficult for them to make the change. Well, for the majority of the young people, it's really, they take it up. They seem to understand it, they embrace it, and they look for ways of expressing it. And these Africans are intelligent, creative, they're inspiring. It's amazing what they have done and what they continue to do. And we're just really blessed to be working with them, the various age groups and in the schools and in the different villages.
Listen, I want to just take this moment to say thank you to everyone who's been watching so far. This is UK Africa Link Up Show. Your health is your wealth. Yeah, I want to say big up to Empress Segmet for joining us. I want to say big up to Bess. We've got someone joining us from Germany who's been asking about where where to buy their foods, what's the right foods to kind of buy. So I want to thank everyone so far that's been tuning in and getting some of this information. We know you're on this retreat. I mean, how many people from other countries have joined you since you've been out there so far?
Well, let's see. Is there anyone that we can think of? We had, we have a couple. Jamila and Brother Ray, Sister Jamila and Brother Ray. They wanted to come here because the wife was had gone through some challenges with her uterine fibroids, and I guess the husband thought it would be nice for her to have a vacation to come here because we have the healing house. And sure enough, they were in Senegal, and I think there wasn't really many vegan restaurants there. So when they came to our home, we had all the spices and the herbs and you name it, everything, the fruits and vegetables. We bought the best because we shop at the, which is somewhat expensive, the fruit sellers. They go to Serekunda, which is a town where all of the farmers bring their produce there for sale. So the sellers go there and then they bring them to the market and sell these things. So we would just go there every 2 or 3 days and continue to bring it in. And she and her husband were really good about preparing their meals too. And then eventually they started wanting to share with us. And after 2 weeks, she was with us, and she had gone to a clinic here just to see how her blood was. And surprisingly, her blood was good from the blood test, and her cyst started to shrink a little bit. And then we found out about a herbalist here, because when we got here, this brother from America, that's right, another brother from America, he introduced us to his Gambian family. And he was also working in the US, and he was going to leave, but then 6 weeks after we met him, and that was really sad to see him go. But he introduced us to this herbalist who actually speaks French.
And then we had a Canadian brother who's been here from Jamaica, his parents. He's here for a few weeks.
Oh yeah, he stayed with us about a month.
Yeah, and then we had a
And
retreat.
He also said that he was in Morocco for a while. And, sometimes with our food, we're not sure how people are going to accept it, because our food is medicine, really. It's not about just sitting and just eating something because it's good, but it detoxes and clean out the blood and, the colon. And he said that actually, after eating food from here a couple of days, he said he had a stomach condition and it got better. And you know what else is interesting? He had a bunch of medication and he left it here and told me to give it to someone. And I'm like, well, I'm not going to give this to anyone. He said, I said, no. And it's still here. And I know I probably should trash it. He's in right now, Thailand, and he's going to come back in a month. Yeah, he left his medication.
Wasn't meant to take it.
He was meant to get off of it.
Absolutely.
So yeah, we really have helped a lot of people. Now, sometimes we may have people, they may be healing, but they don't want to admit it. But that's okay. We can look at them and tell, you know how some of our folks are.
Stubborn.
They're looking good.
But Joe, I wanted to ask, right, because there's a lot of people out here, they want to know what kind of foods of today that they can stay away from.
They stay away from? One of the things I would suggest, it would be in the family of acid kind of things. Stay away from white sugar. Stay away from white table salt. Stay away from white bread, white flour, a lot of white stuff, huh? and stay away from meat, which is also acid to us, and anything that comes from it, like, you know, the eggs, the dairy, all those wonderful things. And stay away from, you know, the coffee and alcohol if you can. And well, we could say that, but he's asking the food. So what I would say,
go with it.
Go with everyone.
She's absolutely right, you know. But you know, stay away from the acid things, and it's important to stay hydrated, and that is drinking water. Mama and I are distributors of Multi-Pure, and that is the best filter in the world, and it doesn't cost a whole lot. And so we've been going throughout the United States and getting UK and African people to get a filter that doesn't cost an arm and a leg, but it's the best in the world. And that helps you with the water, because most folks don't. It's the elephant in the room. If you're drinking bottled water, you know it leaches chemicals. Come on now. And your body's going to be inflamed, and you wonder why you look like you gained weight. So, you know, we just bring it all to doing the best we can until we can do better. But it starts with information. Mom and I, one of the things we kind of pushed off was like, look, why do we have to eat different? Because our bodies are different. If you're a melanated person like you are, my good brother, your bones are 10 times stronger or denser than a European's, which means your body chemistry is different. If you were to take a blood cell of your, or take a drop of your blood and burn it, it would go into a pyramid shape. Not so with the Europeans. They have more sulfur in their body. That's why when they get wet, their hair gives off that smell. They have more ammonia salt that keeps their body warm. That's why they can wear little or nothing and go out in cold or stay in them cold offices, and we can't. They have more, they do, sulfur. Really. They have more sulfur, as my wife would say, but they also have more parasites and more worms to break down their food, because they have a different DNA origin. And so we cannot eat food the same as they do without suffering, you know, really dire consequences. So stay away from the acid stuff. Take your fruits, your grains, your vegetables, your legumes. And if you're up in the cold area up there in terms of vitamin D, it's important that you eat things that are able to hold on to the vitamin D, like your green leafy vegetables, your moss.
Yes, sea moss.
Sea moss.
Sea moss, yes. The seaweed, yeah. And also it's really important to eat what's in season, because it's a fact that when you eat watermelon or mangoes, those things in season, and your greens, well, it helps prepare you for the next season, you know, for the, you know, the change in the climate, and you'll have your immune system up. Because you remember when we were younger, we used to catch colds a lot. It was because of the food that we were eating, drinking too much milk, eating too many eggs, and eating that meat, which that means you have those parasites and eggs and things and worms in your body. So it keeps you ill at times because they're hatching eggs.
About twice a year.
Mm-hmm. So it's really important to, you know, to eat healthy, recipes, and read them. You learn. YouTube have all these different channels. I mean, I with my dehydrator, I wanted to figure out how to dehydrate my vegetables, because I'm very creative when it comes to the kitchen. So what I did, I saw this video. They were advertising the vegetables from the frozen packages. Well, I have my cooks to chop up at least 12 different vegetables. And then we put the coconut oil there, and we put all the different spices in it. And we had here, the cauliflower is out here. We had some cucumbers, tomatoes, eggplant, with the onions, garlic, ginger, you know, just all of these radishes. We put it, you know, we spice it up, put lime on it. And what I did, I put it in the, you know, dehydrated it for 10 hours. And I would check it every, you know, so often, and I would taste it. And it said 10 hours. So I let it go all the way until it turned into a spice. So I have 2 jars of these beautiful, colorful spices that you can actually use to put in your salads. You can put it in your soups or whatever you like. Make pâtés, you know, and there's more that we can do.
But you know, like how you begin, you know, like when you was doing a demonstration of how to cook the food, and you began with a certain temperature of heat, and you said especially it's best to use coconut oil than any other oil.
Yes.
Give us a little information about how to begin that process, because a lot of people, they're still finding it difficult to know how to cook or what temperature to cook their food, or how to start putting their spices before or after. Because one thing I realized is that when you started to warm the oil slowly, you started to put the herbs and the spices before you put anything else in.
Well, sometimes I take the coconut oil if I'm going to use my wok, or even for my stews. And I think when you have a vegan diet, since we're not eating the meats and all this other conventional stuff, you need at least 5 different things on your plate. And that means avocado can be there, your soup, and your stir fry, raw salads, or, you know, sometimes we do vegan cornbread, which is totally different, you know, from the eggs and butter and all that, because we use seaweed in it, we use sesame seeds, coconut oil, and if we add any sweetener, we use a little bit of maple syrup. Yes, it can actually, you know, you have to want to change. And if a person have diabetes, I always tell people, ask the doctor to recommend a nutritionist, because that's what they're there to do, is to introduce you and give you that start as well. You know, and we need help working, you know, with communities. You know, we have people here eating this bread, this French bread or French roll. And sometimes one lady, she had, I think, butter in it, and that was it. And her face had all these different marks. Is because I said, well, honey, you know, this is not good. You know, I couldn't believe it, you know, butter and just this bread.
But if you don't know, and you begin with where you are. And one of the things we try to do is encourage people to just take baby steps, one thing at a time. You just substitute something you know that does not serve your highest good for a more healthy alternative. And you just continue to do that, and in the twinkle of an eye, like this solutional thing we call time will be gone, and you will transform and be a different person.
In 7 years.
Every 7 years, the way your body changes, the cells replicate, you become a brand new person.
Exactly.
And if you're thinking positive, you are programming your body to do positive things. It's another thing we thought that should be brought out, and that is forgiveness, because there's a spiritual component to being healthy. And to be truly healthy, you have to first forgive. In our book, what we do is just set out a procedure for doing it. It's just very, for those of you that don't have one, but basically if you just read the book or just go through it, you're listing what you thought may have stopped you from doing what you wanted to do this life, and forgive yourself. List all the people you thought that may have caused any hurt, harm, or, you know, something wrong in your body, and then forgive them, because they, like yourself, were doing the best we could at the time with our level of consciousness, our knowingness, our willingness to change. And Forgive yourself again, because everything that happened in your life, you played a part in it. Whether it was something that you created this life or something in other lifetimes. But the bottom line is forgive and release, and then you will heal.
Mm-hmm. Go on, Richie.
No, listen, I'm totally feeling that. Yesterday's show with the sister Bush Mama, she was saying the same thing. Part of the detox process is also that mental, spiritual part of it, where you have to let go. You can't hold on to certain things. Again, it's back to the Kemetic science teaching of keeping your heart light as that feather. It's a definite component, as you're saying, to being healthy. So I agree with you there totally. Is one thing I did want to ask, as far as when you have people or when you encounter people on your journeys, is there a common theme or problem that you keep encountering? What's the most common?
Yeah, what I noticed, just physical appearances where people, they have inflammation, and that seems to be a common theme, but that's generally occurs because they're putting things in their body that their body can't really metabolize, and that's those acid things we talked about earlier. Mom?
Yeah, yeah, I think it is, and you know, we have been eating sometimes these processed foods for a long time, and it's not really necessarily the money. I mean, there was times when I had financial challenges because I raised 2 sons, so it wasn't always easy. But there was always, like, I could go to Chinatown and get some fruits and vegetables there because they sell it very low cost for their people, or I can go to the mission area where, you know, the Hispanics, plus, you know, since I was connected with Islam, I would go to the halal stores and buy things. So I've spent most of my life looking for inexpensive ways, you know, to eat. And it hasn't always been the best, because when I look back on myself 20 years ago, I was actually 30 pounds larger, you know? And it was because I was working on getting that fat out of my body. And it took 20 years plus to do it. So we have to be patient with ourselves. You know, there's no hurry. You know, it's like, as my husband said, one, you know, step at a time. You know, I think the Mandinkas say, or Duncan, Dumperdink,
and Wolof.
And Wolof. And it means step by step.
One step at a time.
Yeah, but no, I wanted to ask a question. See, like, because you're coming from the States and you're now in Gambia, I would tell the people, how did it feel like when you just got off that plane and what you was expecting? Was it the things that you was expecting, or did you see something totally different?
Well, I remember Babacar when he was with us, probably 5 months later. He said that when we first got in the car and we got out the car to go different places with him, he said, these people are not going back to America. He said they're going to stay here. And we have been here, what, about almost 15 months. And more, we love this place. It is just, even though it's totally different in many ways than the West, America, and any other place, all the conveniences that we as a people have traveled for centuries and fixed everybody's country. And now it's time for us to come home and fix this place. You know, bring our ideas back here. You know, it doesn't matter if the bathroom is broken. We have people here with skills. I have them to come and they repair these things. And now they pretty much on the payroll. They keep the compound nice.
Now, when I first landed, I noticed the air, as I said, no chemtrails. Oh my God, is this true?
Mm-hmm.
And then from there, it only got better. The sun.
The sun.
And when I saw the people, man, all shades from the darkest purple black to the lightest. And I said, God, they are beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, each day I have to tell you, when I leave the house, I fall in love at least 17 times before I get back home. And so I will say, it is best that you are a mature person before you come here. You could lose your way. So I'm thankful that we live in a religious place where people pray 5 times a day, because I understand where it could come in handy. Hallelujah.
Allahu Akbar.
Praise the source. Yeah, I'm telling you, being in places like that of beauty definitely makes you reflect on the source, the Most High, whatever you want to call it, as you're saying. Yeah,
exactly.
Nature, those natures. Yeah, you have to give thanks every time. Listen, again, I just want to take this opportunity at this point to say thank you to everyone that's been tuning in so far. Big up the chat room who's been supporting it. Big up to Jay, yeah, Bess. Queen Empress segment, as we said, Williams from Germany. Have you ever been to Germany? Used to? Have used to ever traveled to Germany?
Not yet.
Oh, yeah. No, we haven't gone there. We were gonna go to some of the other European countries, but in those countries they take your money so quickly. So that's another good thing. Our money is good here, okay?
And after being in London, oh my God, they try to separate you from your money quickly. Oh my goodness.
And
so yeah, we were glad to get away, my good brother.
And no, we don't really want to. I mean, we may go to those places for a week or so, but you know they out to take your money from you.
We ain't mad at nobody now.
But we prefer to be here where we are in charge of our money and we can help our people. You know, that's what we're here for.
Absolutely.
And support them. Because in those places you can't support your people. You know, you see them homeless, what can you do? You might could give them, you know, £1 or so, or, you know, or $1 or $2. But here you can actually you can give them a little money and then sustain them, you know, for 3 or 4 days. No one's homeless here. There's no hunger here. There's no violence. I mean, it's unbelievable. No one has killed anybody here since we've been here. How many people have died since we've been out of the U.S.? It's just numerous. And I mean, and now we want to bring our blacks from America here. So we're looking at maybe in the next few months, we would like to see about chartering a plane. We just have these ideas that we've had for many years, and now this is an opportunity where we can possibly exercise it.
And also open the doors so that others can help us to help others. So we have a foundation, Healthy Ways Foundation, and that's IRS exemption. California, we have nonprofit. We're just waiting on that to go through the exemption process. So we'll be set up, the Gambia and everywhere, so others can help us. We plan on some other events in the Gambia, but once again, it's more important that we continue our educational process and also demonstrating, because people learn more when they are involved, and especially when they're eating something.
Yeah, because I want to ask Joe, you as you were speaking about educational, and people that might want to come over in the time of where you have an idea of planning a form of an event in November. I just want to give the public a little information or an insight. If they wanted to volunteer or they wanted to come and help you on this event, and how big the magnitude of the event that you want it to be.
Okay, well, what Terry was alluding to is that in November 23rd through 25th, we are going to have a Gambian International festival. And our keynote speakers are Dr. AGEELA Africa and Dr. Umar Johnson. We are going to have, and we've already started, a campaign through the school, the villages, and through the government educating the Gambians on nutrition, education, with it culminating in this event. And we are open to anyone that would like to assist us anyway, or maybe even market themselves, since we will have brochures and things so people can, you know, buy ads and put it out to the world. We're working on getting our MC another vegan, and that's Forrest Whitaker. We haven't got him yet, but we're throwing it out there. But I think the event is just going to be off the charts in terms of awareness internationally, because it comes down to what you don't know that hurts you and what you can do that can help you.
And we're also grateful for Brother Ali the Great.
Yes.
Yeah, Queen Afua's son. He contacted us, and he was just so happy to hear that we're here. And he said he's been following us. And we asked him if he would come in November. He said he will. We also discussed having a health food store here, because I'm purchasing all of these different products for hair, for the skin, the food. You know, now the people who are getting to know us, they want these things too. And I can't just continue to give it to them. So I said that we're going to have to start working on and planning to have a health food store. So we've been offered a place, Red Coat here in the Gambia, this new place. They have room for us to put our products there, our spices and herbs, our hair products, and, you know, our grains, wild rice, you know, our blue cornmeal, quinoa, you know, things that we can't really get here. We can have it here. If folks want to buy it, they can.
And we're also working on duplicating all of the herbs and spices that we've brought, because the soil here is the most nutritious soil in the world. Mm-hmm. So it can grow darn near anything. So there you go.
Yeah, yeah, mm-hmm. Definitely. So people, listen, that sounds very big, very juicy. Dr. AGEELA Africa, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That sounds very good. All in the Sun as well. Umar Johnson, two powerful speakers.
Yeah.
Dr. AGEELA Africa, if you don't know, get to know. Powerful practitioner from Day. Got a lot of good lectures and talks. Yeah.
Well, we spent a few days with him in the States almost 2 years ago, and so it was a blessing. We did a couple of actually a few cooking demonstrations in his home
and one music video.
Yes.
So if you go on our YouTube channel, Spicy Tasty Vegan Cuisine, same as the book title, yeah, you can check it out.
You know, on the Facebook as well. What was it? Someone asked, is Spicy Tasty Vegan on Facebook?
Yes, yes, it is.
Spicy Tasty Vegan. What is it?
Spicy Tasty, yeah, on Facebook.com/Spicy Tasty Vegan the books.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And then we have the Amazon. You can go to Amazon.com and you can type in the Spicy Tasty Vegan. We also have a bookstore here, Timbuktu. Our books are being sold there for those that are listening here in the Gambia. And we may have a few there. I don't know, Terry. We may have to connect with you to see where the books are there in London.
Yes.
Yeah. They can get the books in the Matt Hat Centre, 10 Adelaide Road in West London, or you can go to the Matt Hat Centre in Tottenham. Mm-hmm. Or if you're on the road or going to events, just look for who we call Uncle Emmanuel. He may have one of the books. Did Pansy get any?
They did before we left. We had quite a few books we left with him.
Yeah.
Right, but I don't know. I don't know. If you can check on that for us, that would be cool.
I'll check them. I'll check them out.
Okay.
So let's get into the understanding about Gambia, because a lot of people are asking, you know, what this Gambia is about and how to get in. Was it difficult when you got to the Gambia? Was it very difficult to find your place within the community?
No, it was kind of easy because a lot of the people look like my cousins and my uncles and my neighbors. And I mean, I was, man, running up to people, almost making a fool out of myself the first week. I thought it was, you know, no, that can't be, because, oh, man. So that made me feel real comfortable, okay? And another thing, when I first got here, I thought, oh, my God, I'm in heaven. All these beautiful women, and they just like need a ride, and cars just pick them up. I didn't know it was part of their transportation system where they had the taxi cabs, but it works, okay?
Yeah.
So yeah.
So we were. Yeah, we also, Babacar, he also put us in a community where they were more or less the lower, you know, the lower class folks, you know, that were loving and having a great time, bare feet and so forth. And then you had some that owned a couple of the compounds. And it was just wonderful being in an environment with all, you know, Black people.
And different languages. And living on a street with no name where what you go by are the landmarks.
Okay. So how long are you looking to spend out there before you pick up and travel somewhere else different? Or is it—
Well, we're using, oh, no. Well, see, what we are looking at is like, if you strengthen a mother, she can better help their children. And so for us to help our people in the United States and diaspora, it's strengthening all of the motherland. So this is our base that we're using to disseminate information and also to go to others to help them with those areas that jump off at. And one I mentioned was the white rice, the others is sugar. Here in the Gambia, we have substitutes for that. Number one, we have the moringa, or we call it the never die. If you eat the seed, chew that, and you drink your tea, they have what they call a tire here. They put it in like 2 whiskey glasses and turn it up and down until it gets really sudsy, and then they drink it down like a sugar rush. Well, if you chew on the attire seed and drink the attire, chew on the moringa seed and drink the attire, it will be as sweet as sugar and more refreshing. The other thing we pointed out is that the local honey is very good. It's nutritious here, where in the US, our areas are so polluted, the bees were sick, so we didn't dare go there. But here someone told the myth that if you have a child, the infant is not to drink water nor have any honey for 6 months of its life. Well, you know, as an adult, if you've heard that, you figure, hey, if it ain't good for the child, I ain't touching it either. So, you know, that's another myth that we've had to bust. The third is coconut nectar. With your coconuts, from the flower, if you were to cut it, the sap that comes from it is as sweet as sugar, the coconut nectar. Now, you won't be able to get your fully developed coconuts, but you can have a coconut nectar grove.
Okay. I've never heard of coconut nectar before this. So you
just they do. They have it there at the Whole Foods.
Yes.
There.
And the third thing that we found is a challenge with the vegetable oils, because their challenge is with palm oil. See, they've separated it from the kernel. The kernel is very good for us, along with the marijuana, the cannabis oil, the mother's breast milk, the coconut oil. So if you separate it, then it's like the other vegetable, the canola, the safflower, the soy, all those things, vegetables, you heat them up to a certain temperature and they turn rancid or spoiled. Now, if you have it processed, like in the bottle and wrapped you get, they already put in chemical deodorizers. So what we've encouraged them to do is to go back to their own DNA stuff, coconut oil. You know, it's antibacterial, antiviral, anti-fungus. So dealing with everything from herpes to AIDS, okay? Coconut oil. And also we encourage, and people when they do come here, but also do it there, is to touch Mother Earth. That has a way, and you know how people call it earthing, whatever, but that has a way of also getting rid of those things in your body that shouldn't be. Free radicals. Yeah. So there are just simple things that we try to point out to the people around here, because there's been a disconnect in the generations from the older ones to the younger ones. And some of them know about some of the traditional herbs, but they may not know the measurements. And a lot of them don't know at all. So we've been reintroducing it to them.
That's it. That's it. That's it. And I think the most powerful thing that you've said is that you demonstrate, which I think, as you said, is the best possible way, where people can see it, that it's interactive, they can try it, and then they get to taste it. Yeah, I mean, you get the wax. So I think that definitely makes a major difference. Yeah, in how you demonstrate, obviously, what to do and the processes as well. Because again, in the Western society, I think we've become lazy, where we like everything packaged, and the thought of, you know, like the sister was saying when she boiled down the veg into a seasoning, and just taking time to actually prepare the ingredients from that base level. I think that's that part is so foreign to a lot of people in the West. Because we're so used to just going to the shop, everything's pre-processed, and again, as the brother just said, we don't think about the fact that it's pre-processed, mean they've added all of the foolishness to it before it's even got to you. So there's no hope now of you getting rid of those things. So you know, I think that is one of the most powerful things that you talked about. Obviously, the preparation. Go on, brother.
Well, not only do you put your energy into the food, you know, that makes it. If you are dealing with food and your energy is not right, that also comes out in the food. And the other thing I think is important in terms of embracing who and all we are and how we've been affected by the food. About 60% of all the processed food has soy in it. And you know that soy, if it's not fermented, most of it that is there is not. So what we have is things that mess with our hormones. And a lot of the chemical that's used in some of the food that also affects our hormones. And as a result, we have a lot of individuals that may come in with both vagina and a penis, or they may come in on the inside more male or more female, or a mixer-upper. But the bottom line is we have to embrace all of who we are, because everyone we see is a reflection of ourself. And just because that part of ourself karmically came in to have a certain experience, you know, in 2 generations, we can clear everything up if we care to do that. But I just wanted to point that out, that as loving beings and understanding how food is our medicine and our medicine should be our food, we look at the after effects or the side effects.
Definitely. And again, I was going to ask you earlier about the soya products. Again, just speak on that, because again, we've got this major tussle going on in the Western society again, where for the very long time, soya's been promoted as this health alternative. It's still drank, it's still eaten a lot. But again, when people do the little history check, they find in places like China, it was banned for thousands of years. The Shaolin monks know it as a libido killer. You know, it was only fed to pigs because they were the only ones with the belly to process it over. So we find out all these facts are, you know, talk on that fact on the soya and what it really does to the body. Because I think a lot of people have heard a lot of headliner points on it, whether it's the estrogen giver or whatever, but speak on just how detrimental or what it does to the body.
Okay, first, let's just get a short history. The soy bean was used as meat some time ago for the Japanese and Chinese, you might peasants and farmers that couldn't afford meat. But some time ago, they developed a process where they could ferment the soybean, which means they could neutralize some of the contaminants and take out some and deactivate some of this stuff through this process. Now, the Asians that ate the soy, they didn't eat a lot of it. It wasn't an entree, it was like a condiment. In other words, a small amount that they would mix with the other things that were
vegetables.
Yeah, vegetables, those things are nutriently dense. It would help the thyroid and all of that together. Well, we were duped, and we've been duped a lot, by some folks in marketing that said, hey, this soy stuff here, a lot of Asians don't have the challenges that the Westerns have, health challenges, and they eat this soy. But what they didn't tell us was that they were eating the soy that had been processed, or as we say, fermented, like the tempeh, the soyu, and some of the others.
Yeah.
But
Tofu.
And tofu, that one itself, that is not
and even the
fermented.
Baby, and the baby's milk, which is so unfortunate when you didn't stop breastfeeding.
Mm-hmm.
They tricked us, said, oh, would you like the soy milk or this other, cow's milk? So we would say soy.
We didn't know.
We didn't know.
We didn't know.
And that, if you weren't a parent or a mother that really prepared food, because that's why I believe in having anything from 4 to 5 different ingredients of food on my plate. So if it's something bad, the rest of the good neutralizes or something.
Playing the odds.
Because we don't know. We're still learning.
No, definitely. It's always just striving to get that balance.
It's a balance.
Mm-hmm. So I would say on the whole, stay away from it, because 95% of all of the soy is GM. It comes from GMO seeds.
Now the Bragg's, are you familiar with
go ahead. The
Bragg's? Yeah, Bragg's liquid aminos. That's okay. It's like it's soy, but it's fermented. So it's okay to have a little bit of that. Or what I do, I usually use a lot of my spices and herbs like coriander, cumin, turmeric, basil, rosemary, and the list goes on. It's in the book. And I use some of the Himalayan salt. And then that's when you can not worry about any of that soy. You can just get used to the taste of the spices and herbs, which is healing. I find myself every time I eat something, within a matter of time, I eliminate it because of these different spices. It's something about it. It's so healing.
Well, and again,
I want to ask a question. Because as we was talking about soy, I wanted to know more on the tofu.
On tofu?
Yeah. What's your opinion on that? Because
I would say if you were on a flat surface and it were close to you, run.
Stay away from it.
Run.
Yeah.
See, a lot of us that tried to go for the more healthier alternative, we were blindsided. And that is one of the reasons why there was a high rate of cancer among the so-called vegans and vegetarians that were eating a lot of soy. I mean, it's good for making paint out of it and a whole bunch of other stuff. Even George Washington Carver said, you do not consume it. But, if you don't know, you don't know. I'm still trying to grow back some of the hair on the top of my head, which I believe was a result of me eating that soy. Because, man, there was a time when we had soy heaven. We had soy ice cream, soy wieners, soy sausage, soy.
Dogs,
oh man, we
tofu,
had soy everywhere.
And just everything. And one thing, because I cooked all the time and prepared food, I didn't really get that involved in the soy. until after I became totally vegan, and I saw the sausage, and I would mix mine with a lot of garlic and onions and bell pepper and celery and all of that. And it tastes good, but I remember I started itching around my breast area, and I didn't know what was going on.
I was itching and burning too. I started drinking more water, thinking, well, maybe I need to be more hydrated. And then, oh Lord!
And then we started reading about the soy, and then it just became a reality. And when we had a Muslim brother we knew,
Brother Malik,
yeah, he's in the book.
My.
He ended up changing his diet from the dairy to the soy, and he ended up having growing women's breasts.
He said it was a size C cup.
Wow. Real.
And so yeah, he allowed us to tell the story in the book.
And we have another brother. He had a 3-year-old daughter. She went to see the dentist, and she had a mouthful of cavities. And like he said, what? How did this? Well, it turned out he had switched to the soy, and that has a way of, blocking out a lot of the nutrients and things that your body needs. One being calcium. It has a high rate of aluminum in it because they're generally made in aluminum vats, and it leaches into the tofu. The list goes on from, the anti-gorders that are in there. They can mess with your gorder. And let's just say the long and skinny of it, unfermented tofu or unfermented soy is not good for human consumption.
We should also look at some of the making your burgers out of seaweed and beans.
Absolutely.
And then you add your red bell peppers and green, and you can add your garlic, a little garlic and ginger, and and put in your parsleys and your cilantro. I mean, they're recipes, but because again, I know how to prepare food, I just mix everything in it. And then you can just dehydrate the burgers, or you can just put them in the oven. There's so many ways that we can actually, get the proper nutrients. And then after you get your body and your stomach down to a certain size, you should only eat enough, food by the size of your stomach. It says just about the size of the palm of your hand.
And if you right food, it even though some may say, oh God, it costs a lot of money eating that way. My God, it's so expensive. It's easier just to get what's local that you can get cheap. No, if you're doing it right, you're only going to eat one meal a day, because the nutrients are going to be such that your body will be sustained and fulfilled.
Yeah.
Well, I think again that's another problem that meat eaters and people that are new to the diet suffer from, because obviously their brain is associating different foods, heavier foods, with their hunger. So there's always this fear that once they switch from the meat, and even I've had this issue where I've thought about it as somebody who likes food as well, that when you now start eating this diet of veg and whatever, it won't be as substantial, because again, the levels of fullness, how you gauge yourself, your whole body is giving you false messages on what you want to eat. Again, it's that like the white sugars and all of that, associating sugar, which gives you no nutrient value, but you're associating it with your hunger pangs kind of thing. So yeah, I think these are major issues that people who are new to this dietary plan suffer from a lot, as you're saying. And that is one of the major scares, I think, or commonplace things I hear come out of people's mouth. Oh, I love my food, I need to be full, that's not going to fill me up, eating lettuce, eating this, nah. But again, as you're saying, I think after time it's good to stress that your body will adjust. And I think it's such a different reality for people. And again, I can't even personally speak wholly on this, but I've witnessed other people speak about how they feel as opposed to, and also how they taste food, and it being a whole new reality for them when they actually stick to it and manage to break through that, you know, the pain barrier, so to speak, of changing their diet.
You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. I just want to mention three things. And the first thing, when we started writing our book, one of the brothers in Kenya, you know, he brought out the information and research that, you know, 5,000 years ago, we Africans did not eat meat, and all animals were part of our family. We communicated. It may have been telepathy or whatever, but we communicated. And the question was asked, if someone ate your mother, your brother, your sister, your cousin, and was laying in wait to eat your grandmother, would you talk to them? Well, and the other thing is the myth about protein. We were sold that one too. It was blindsided. We didn't see it coming. We were told that you got to have protein, and protein is this and this and that. And, you know, protein
it's only one of the 29 amino acids.
And you get more proteins out of your fruits, your vegetables, and your grains than that. And when you do eat meat, and what protein you get out of it, it's secondhand. And not only that, but you get the joy of eating the collective contaminants that that animal has accumulated all of its life, and you're going to eat most of it in a few bites. And the third thing is that when you do eat meat, it destroys lysine. And that is one of the amino acids that helps to regulate your pineal gland. So your pineal gland is all connected to your third eye. So when you're eating meat, with each bite, you're getting further away from your higher consciousness.
Connected, that's it. It's all connected. It's all connected. And again, you know, just on the practicals, you can go to places on the planet, where animals have had no contact with human beings in the sense of being hunted, and you see the marked difference. As you're saying, it doesn't have to be telepathy, because the animals have memory. So they act and behave differently around you when they have no memory of you killing them, as you're saying.
Like saying, you are what you eat.
That's it.
Yes,
that's it.
Absolutely.
And I think the protein level of understanding that the protein that you get from veg, I think that is definitely something that's been a lot more publicized this year, just as far as mainstream media saying and sticking to their guns that, as you said, it's a secondhand protein you're getting from your meat sources. So it is a myth that is the only place to get it from. So I definitely agree with you on that one as well. You know, it is what it is. It speaks for itself. It's just that, as you're saying, we're dealing with a pre-programmed response that we've been given for a long time. So it's a hard one to bust. Go ahead, Tel.
Yeah. As I was going to say, as we're talking about meat, and Africa, it sometimes in this day and age, it's part of their delicacy of their food. How do you actually able to give them a demonstration to say that it's best to eat vegetables than to eat meat when they refuse to give it up?
Well, that's not the truth anymore. I mean, we had one brother who was a vegan 3 years before we met him. And he said it was a very lonely time. But since we've been here, we've had people that have converted, man. They've taken those steps. A lot of it has been because of health scares, you know, whatever your motivation is. But we have people that no longer eat meat here, and they see the difference. And man, I'll tell you, in America itself, man, I used to go to people's houses and they say, "What? My dog Killer didn't bite you? How'd you get up?" Well, no, they could smell that I ain't gonna be eating them.
They could.
And Yeah, I know when I worked in the environment for the last 15 years as a library tech, and I was always usually one or two of the only blacks there. And because I was vegan in that time, my attitude was so much more calm and more relaxed than theirs. And they would always try to occasionally rile me up. And I always still come across in a mellow way because of the intake of the food in my body was not, it wasn't full of chemicals and it wasn't of flesh. So I realized by sharing this diet with them for my retirement, they actually gave me a vegan, the librarians gave me a vegan, vegetarian, going away retirement.
And it's another thing we found out is that most of the Africans here don't eat a lot of meat. You know, they're basically plant-based. There are certain times that, you know, they may pig out on it, like one of their holidays.
Yeah,
they have
Tabaski.
You know, where it's...
That was, the one after Ramadan's. And we had a really challenge because when we moved in our compound, there were two mules, what you call them? They were two rams next door. And they used to cry a lot. And I think they were crying because they knew that they were going to be eaten. So I know that was from March through, I think, around September. They were there for a period of like 6 months, and they were quiet and calm. And then all of a sudden, the time come when it was Tabaski, and they were crying because they cut one up and did what they did. The second one, he cried and cried. And the last day, I was praying and hoping that they would let him live. And I mean, he kept me awake. I started crying because I didn't think it was right. It was very difficult for me to, it was one of the difficult things about being in Africa when those holidays come around and they take out those animals and cut them up. And occasionally I would look out the window, they was cutting their meat, and I just didn't understand.
But it's just like the U.S. holidays. It may be the same in the U.K.
Yeah, it is.
A lot of people die a few days after that.
Oh, yes. They don't tell you that.
Christmas and Thanksgiving, those times, isn't it? That's when the big meats are out.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah,
and those canned cranberry sauce, I mean, they got some killer instant stuff you put together. In America, man, we used to have regular flour, and then they came up with this Bisquick stuff with aluminum in it. And that's one of the reasons why Americans are running around now still trying to find their keys.
Well, you see, one of the things you were saying that I find interesting, and I think this goes to the psyche of how we view the world. As you were saying, when you're a meat eater and you're around dogs or animals, as you're saying, sometimes there's this threat level, and we've always had this notion given to us, especially by white people, that we're the dominant factor on the earth. We control and we can stare down the animals, and obviously as this top predator we have this power. When, as you said, when you come in a house and someone's saying to you, how did you get past Killer? And you're saying Killer's not no threat to me, and I'm not no threat to Killer, because he recognizes my power in its own right, but that still doesn't threaten his place. Do you think that speaks, again, as you're saying, going back in time in African culture where we didn't eat meat? Yeah. Do you think that kind of aspect of understanding our place on the planet and how we view power is important?
Yes.
To understand?
Yes, I think so. I mean, it feels that it's true to me. If we're part of a family, and that means our family that's in the water, our family that's in the sky, and we're all part of the one. That's a holistic view, and a view that a lot of us are working on getting to, in our work as far as uplifting our consciousness. But it's not a far stretch to see that we're really all one.
Yeah, and I don't know. I kind of think when I was speaking to Ida in Alaska, and I was really concerned about, you know, the meat eating and the killing, and she said something to me, and the phone kind of disconnected. She said, "Well, we have to eat something." So I learned that there was a period of time in our lives where, yes, you know, people had to eat whatever they could. You know, we don't know the whole story about why we are actually in this situation. No one has really, of course, you know, there are books and there's materials and there is information, but sometimes you're so busy surviving, you don't really know. But intuitively, I'm learning to go within and know that, yes, when it's a brother said years ago in the U.S. in the masjid, the mosque, he said, you eat what you can until you can do better, and when you can do better, then you can eat better food. You know, because sometimes finances it's like a test.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And our bodies are so incredible. You know, we can jump down at them and throw them and what for years, mm-hmm. and we can actually recover. So if you're in a situation where, you know, you don't have it right then, just know a better day is coming. If you know, then you can start to visualize. Mm-hmm. Then you will open those doors for your growth and new realities and expectations.
I think that's the beauty of the black body radiation that we possess, that melanin, the repairing mm-hmm. of the cells, the consciousness of every cell. Yeah. Right. Ever striving to obviously better ourselves. That definitely is on our side, you know. But again, as you said, I think people need to understand the stark truth is that the Western world isn't built to make it an easy task to eat well, to think right, to live right, to treat people correctly, and to even interact properly with your surroundings. That's the key element, I think.
Yeah, well, what we found out is that whether you're from the U.S., the UK, Africa, the diaspora period, you know, we've all been beaten with different whips and sticks. So we all are in need of healing. And so I think when we start embracing our brothers and sisters in their pain, and giving them a way of getting that way by, first of all, start putting something different in your body. And as Brother Terry Riggs said, when you eat better, you're going to think better.
Mm-hmm. And make better decisions, you know, for your life.
Which will impact your community, your country, and the world.
Mm-hmm. Most definitely. Listen, this has been another beautiful show. I want to say big up to the chat room again. For supporting it. They're loving it. Everybody's been enjoying the information. Yeah, people, if you don't know, get to know. Black Ice TV 7, UK to Africa, link up. Your health is your wealth. Yeah, we've been talking to this beautiful couple on the self-love retreat. In fact, let me not even cheapen it. Just again, tell the people where you're at, what the retreat is, the title of your book, where they can find you. Just give us a summary, and then after that, you know what I'm saying? That's what I'm saying. I'm never going to cheapen it because there's been so much great information.
Okay, well,
I gotta stress this. So go in.
Well, thank you again, brother. We really appreciate this opportunity to talk to your family. And we want to thank them because many members in your family, that's our family now, they have our book and they've helped to make it #1 in the world. And we're so thankful for that. The name of the book, which most people are familiar with, is called Spicy, Tasty Vegan Cuisine, an informative guide for the melanated.
An informative health guide.
An informative health guide for the
melanated people of color, in parentheses.
And so that's the one we recommend for you folks of color. We also have one for the general public.
And that one is Spicy, Tasty Vegan Cuisine, an informative guide to healthy living. That's for everyone, the general public.
And if you follow what's in that book, then you also will have the benefit of your pineal gland stop calcifying. It will start to open up, and you will be feeling and become more human.
And then the third one is our original, with more or less not the academic information, but more of the recipes and the testimonies of 70 people who we catered that took time from their life to share. That's there. And the recipes are in color. And this is just a beautiful book, you know, for one wants to use it in the kitchen, they can have it there. Because I'm from the old school. I'm used to cookbooks.
And a caveat, our books, when you get them, don't get mad if somebody borrows them and you don't get it back, okay?
Yes.
Just look at it, that's your love token.
Right, Terry? You know how it is when those books.
That's why it's locked up in my cupboard. So when people
Thank you.
When I'm cooking amazing foods, they're wondering, where did I get that recipe from? I say, I don't know.
And Terry, because you are already, you know, health conscious, and you do know a lot about preparing food, it does make it easier when you have, you know, your recipe books, and you can just take ideas from that and combine it with what you have, and it's even more tasty and beautiful from your own ideas.
Now, we have had a retreat here, and basically, and we still are having some. We have a break right now, thank goodness, because we have a staff, as my wife has mentioned, and they fix the best food on the planet. And we also have like a breakfast kind of thing, a juice, a smoothie, and all of that.
Yes.
But all you need is one meal a day, believe me, and it's a serious one. For those that want to come for healing, that's what the food does. We also have yoga, prana yoga, and
pranic healing, and that's what I'm going through now. You know, moving the energy from, you know, stagnated areas. My knees happen to be a little challenged. Being a Capricorn, I learned many years ago that we are generally people who don't show our true feelings, you know, about some difficulties, but it's inside of the body that suffers. So mine happen to be the joints and the bones. So I have to make sure I keep exercise in my life. Now I do more Tai Chi. I've learned that over 20 years ago, and Qigong for breathing, because that also helped move stagnated, you know, inflammation or some stress in the body, as well as now pranic healing. I had some healing today with crystal all around my body while I slept, while the person was constantly doing their healing over my body. And I'm supposed to do this for 3 months and see a difference. So exercise is very important as well as your diet.
And thinking positive.
Yes.
Thinking positive.
We need that mind. and staying happy. You know, today I had a meeting with the 6 of my staff, and I think one lady is a little nervous. She thinks that we may favor one more than another. I said, well, you know, we all have, you know, our different skills, and we don't need to feel jealous of one another. We need to love each other. And you know, I think one, they kind of felt like maybe she shouldn't be working with them because she does less. Well, I talked to each individual one with my husband there, and they told us everything they wanted us to know. And then we got together and we talked about it together. And it turned out, you know, a beautiful meeting, because I've been working with Europeans, you know, people for most of my life. And they seem to work things out because they want to keep us where we are. So here we're working with our people. We need to learn to work with each other. It's not the end of the world if we disagree, or agree. These things can be done, agree and disagree in love. You know, it doesn't matter.
And know that, you know, hey, all of us have been hit with different sticks and whips.
That's right.
So, you know, keep that in mind before you get your all sensitivity. Hey, you ain't the only one living this life. Come on now.
That's right.
Let's learn to love.
Yeah, we have to love one another. It's so important. And you know, and they're young enough to be our grandchildren, and we're just so honored, you know, to have these beautiful young people that's really in the kitchen. I mean, you know, they have a little stomach ache, they just go freely to the cabinets and they get the burdock root. You know, we've taught them, you know, these herbal teas, Parde Arco. We have the moringa. I mean, it's dandelion leaves and you name it, we have it. And the chia seeds, they use whatever it is to help themselves. And and today, one of our farmers, he made some, what is that called?
Noni.
The noni. We have noni fruit here. And so he made the juice. Really nice. Noni in America, people spend lots of money for that. And I think they say it comes from Hawaii. And here it's all over the place right now. You can grow just
about anything here.
Mm-hmm.
Anything. This is an incredible place.
So yeah, we really need to get our people here and start healing.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So, and you know, if you want to get our book, you can, as Terry said, the place is there in the UK. Mm-hmm. You can go to Amazon.com.
And if you're a Prime member, you can download it as an ebook for free.
Mm-hmm. Is there any places in the States that they can get the book? Because we have viewers from America as well. So
yes, they can order the book at any bookstore.
Yes.
If they don't have it, they can order it at any bookstore. Mm-hmm. They can go to Amazon.com, our Facebook, our websites. They'll take them there too. Mm-hmm. What we are looking to do is have our book translated into French so we can reach more Africans. So that's soon come. And once again, you know, we have the availability for others to help us to help others. And we want to give thanks for all of those people that have shown their love and support to get us to where we are now. I mean, it's been truly a joint family, familial effort. And we just give thanks for all that continued love and support.
Definitely. And people, we will be posting the links in the description of this video. So after the show, once it's up on the channel, Black Eyes TV 7, you can go, you'll be able to see the links. And again, as Brother Terry was saying earlier, you can go back into the Black Eyes TV archives and see our brother and sister talking when they was in England, down in Brixton with our brother Terry, rapping about some of the same subject matters, food, ingredients, and other subjects. So please go and check that out and see the backlog and go and follow the links and support the movement back to the continent. Because again, it's us of the diaspora that have a major role to play in the awakening of our brothers and sisters on the continent and vice versa. Yeah, but it has to be a joint effort. Yeah.
So is Black Eyes TV going to be at the Gambian International Vegan Festival?
Yes. Listen, I definitely want to be there. You have whet my appetite sufficiently, so I know I've got to start saving them pennies. Yeah.
Okay.
Now,
well, it's not going to be as expensive as America. You guys got a really wonderful opportunity to come to Africa.
Yeah, you don't even have to get a visa.
Listen, you don't have to convince. You're speaking to the choir, preaching to the choir. Yeah?
You know that, huh?
I'm trying to be there. I know Terry's already trying to be there. We're talked about already. And again, with the lineup that you're looking to produce and the fellowship that will be there, I think it will definitely be a powerful event and all set in Africa's sun. behave yourself. Yeah,
Yes.
come on. We gotta be there. Yeah, we got to try to make that.
So, and we can also be reached on Facebook Messenger, and we also have WhatsApp.
We have WhatsApp.
So my number is +220 347
what's it,
7437.
Okay, here it is. It's +220 347 7430 is mine, and then Dr. Joe's is +220 347 7437.
Yes, and if there's anyone that wants to assist us or they're interested in promoting their business, this is going to be the International Bang Bang Zoo Zoo Wally Wally Show. And so you can have people viewing this from all over the world. So if you're talking about publicity in one shot, I don't think you can do much better than this one.
Most definitely. Yeah. Most definitely. Black Eyes TV will definitely be supporting the cause. I know Mr. Riggs, HKTH, Knowledge and Travels will definitely be supporting the cause. That's just a given. Yeah, that's just a given. Riggsy.
Yes.
Were you there? Speak to the people.
I'm still there. I'm still there. I'm enjoying the information. I'm enjoying what's going on. And as I said, for the general public, to get them to understand what we're about and the movements that we are making. As you know, we have this GoFundMe. We want people to donate for us to able to reach the USA, which we've got the UK USA link up. It's GoFundMe USA UK link up. Understanding that we are trying to travel the world. We're not just sticking to one place. We're acting as diplomats so we can go around the world to bring our people home.
Yes.
So we have a massive task to do. So from each country, we're trying to get you to network with you, then to bring you to the place where we call Gambia.
All right.
Yes, exactly.
So,
all right.
So that is our mission for 2008. We need to put our boots to the ground. We need to project what we're supposed to do and influencing our people to have a better understanding that this is a place where you can be rejuvenated.
Absolutely. And you can play a hand in the Gambia being the #1 eco country in the world. We've spoken to a sister earlier from Ghana. We would like to, and we would love to have more of the polymers. In other words, we'll be taking some of the plastic that would otherwise be useless and detrimental and putting that into making the type of roads that are more in form with the environment using the plastics. We also have a UK brother who has electric car, electric bike, electric trike, and I think you know the brother. He'd like to build his factory here. So if there are others that are there that want to get in touch with us, that have ideas to help make this the eco country of the world, please step forward. Because if this would be the best place to do it, and we're going to play our part in making it come about. So help us to help this happen, please.
So you heard it there first, people. It's International Trade at its best. It's back to that Marcus Garvey movement. Yeah, it's back to the Pan-Africanism. It's back to oneness. Yeah, it's back to unification, people. Yeah, in mind, body, spirit, and economics. Yeah, because again, we got to support each other so these movements are sustainable. Yeah, so just like my brother was saying, yeah, support the movement. You heard the event in November, people. It's going to be big. Umar Johnson, Layla Africa, Dr. Layla Africa, should I say, it's already booked in. Maybe a Forrest Whitaker, maybe a Queen Afua, who knows? But there will be a strong fellowship of brothers and sisters there for you to
share your well, we have the Queen Afua. She'll be here for next year.
Okay. All right. So
yeah, they said we've got some heavy hitters right now. Next year we'll have some more.
That's what I'm talking about. planning. Yeah, 5 generations, as Mr. Riggs always says. Yeah, we're keeping it moving. Again, people, this has been a UK Africa link up show. Your health is your wealth. Yeah, it's been a beautiful interview. Riggs,
but you know what, Rich?
Riggsy, talk to that's what I was gonna bring you.
Yeah, I before we go out, I always ask for the special request. You know the song that we always sing, the spicy, tasty vegan song. As you know, Dr. Joe was a music artist at the time, and you know we always like to tune out to a nice, beautiful song. But before we do that, I'm asking everyone to be black, spend black, live black. Just make the African paradigm within your mind. It's a powerful movement, and we're powerful people. So we're going to say one more. Donate that £1 or donate that $1. GoFundMe UK USA link up so that we can do all these things that we're supposed to do and go live right to your doorstep, even if you can't travel. So the more you invest in all what everyone is doing, the bigger it can be. It's for us to able to put a legacy down for our 5 generations deep.
That's right.
So I pass it on to you, Richie, and then we can pass it on to that beautiful song.
All right.
Okay. You ready?
Listen.
1, 2,
1 minute.
Go for it, people. Go for it. We're ready for you.
Oh, well, we're just going to say goodnight to you. This is Dr. Joe and Mama NAASIRA from Spicy Tasty Vegan Cuisine.
Yeah.
That's cool. Yeah, you heard it there. Go and purchase the book. People, UK Africa link up. Your health is your wealth. Look at the symbol. You know where it is. Black Ice TV 7. Bringing you that information and knowledge. Tomorrow we're back again with a show for our Moorish people. Them, the show will be called In the Company of a Moor. Yeah, I'm really looking forward to that. We'll be dealing with that subject matter and what it means. Stay tuned, stay locked, support black media. Shout out to all the media channels. TV, content over everything. HMP. All of them out there, too many to mention right now, but again, support the black narrative.
Hashtag
power moves, power moves, power move. Yeah.
Make that move right now, 2008.
That's it. That's it. And support black media. Thank you for watching, people. This is another Black Ice TV production. Peace. All right.